Have you ever sat in a quiet room and wondered what your body might be trying to tell you? Not the obvious things, like a sore knee or a stiff back, but the subtle signs, the quiet whispers, that something deeper may need your attention? Because there's something important I want to share with you today. A final message from a retired doctor, spoken not from a medical podium, but from a place of deep care. A message he says every senior deserves to hear before it's too late. You see, he didn't wait to write it down in some textbook or whisper it in the hallway of a hospital. No, he shared it with those he cared about most, his patients, his friends, his neighbors, and now it's time you heard it too. Because what he revealed, after decades of treating aging bodies, holding trembling hands, and sitting beside hospital beds, could change the way you live the years ahead. And for many, it already has. This isn't about scaring you. It's about preparing you. And more than that, it's about empowering you. So you can wake up tomorrow not just feeling a little older, but feeling wiser, stronger, and more in control of your health than ever before. I've spent hours gathering the insights, cross-checking the facts, listening to his stories, and now I'm passing that wisdom on to you. One gentle, honest truth at a time. And before we go any further, I'd love to invite you to do something. If you find value in this message, please consider subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment about what resonates most with you, or sharing this with someone you care about. You never know. Something you say might be the encouragement someone else needs to hear. Let's begin with what the doctor said was the most heartbreaking thing he saw over and over again in patients over 70. It wasn't the disease itself. It wasn't the diagnosis. It was delay. People waited too long to listen to their own bodies. He told me, the saddest stories were never about the illness. They were about how long people ignored the warning signs. A little shortness of breath, a bit of fatigue that seemed new, a change in balance, appetite, mood, all brushed off as just getting older. But here's the truth he wants you to know. Age doesn't mean you have to feel unwell. Pain, weakness, forgetfulness, they are not just normal parts of aging. They are signals. They're your body's way of saying, I need something, I need help, I need a little more attention. Another warning he gave was about isolation, not just physically being alone, but emotionally withdrawing. The body and the spirit, he said, are deeply connected. When the heart grows lonely, the body grows weak. He had seen strong men and women, full of life and stories, slowly retreat when their days lost rhythm, when their friends stopped calling, when the family got busy. And with that loneliness came slower walking, less appetite, more confusion, even new aches that medicine couldn't explain. So, his advice was simple, but powerful. Stay connected. Talk to someone every day. Say yes to invitations. Even if it's just to sit and chat, or go for a short walk, or share a cup of coffee. Community isn't just comforting, it's healing. It strengthens your brain, your heart, your immune system. He even joked, laughter with an old friend might be better than blood pressure meds in the right moment. And while he spoke about the emotional side of aging, he also offered a sharp reminder about something many seniors miss, the silent creep of dehydration. If I had $1, he laughed, for every senior who came in, dizzy, foggy, or tired, and just needed more water, I'd have retired even sooner. As we get older, our thirst mechanism weakens. We don't feel thirsty the same way, but our bodies still need that hydration. Muscles need it, joints need it, the brain needs it. So, his advice? Start your day with a glass of water before anything else. Keep one nearby throughout the day. Sip it slowly if it's hard to drink fast. You'll be amazed how something so simple can clear your mind, steady your legs, and even improve your mood. One more thing he warned us about was overconfidence with medications. Not the kind of confidence that leads to independence, but the kind that keeps someone taking pills long after they're needed, or combining supplements and prescriptions without ever reviewing them with a doctor. Most seniors don't realize, he told me, that their kidneys and liver slow down after 70. What was safe at 50 might be risky now. He recalled countless patients who ended up in the ER from unexpected drug interactions or vitamin overload, or simply not knowing that two things they were taking didn't mix. It wasn't neglect, he said. It was trust. Trust in the bottle. Trust in the routine. But what we forget is that the body is always changing, so our care has to change too. So his heartfelt plea was this: once a year at least, sit down with your doctor or pharmacist and review every pill, supplement, and over-the-counter product you take. One simple conversation can prevent a dozen complications. He paused at this point, and I remember his voice softening. Tell them, he said, that their health is still worth protecting, even if they're tired, even if the kids are busy, even if they feel like the world has moved on. Because to him, every senior he treated wasn't just a patient. They were a story, a life full of memories, a treasure chest of wisdom. And he wanted each and every one of those lives to last longer, feel better, and end well. His final warning wasn't about medicine at all. It was about purpose. He said, when someone wakes up in the morning and doesn't know what they're waking up for, the body takes notice. The body craves direction, even in retirement. A reason to move, a reason to eat well, a reason to keep showing up. So, find that reason, big or small. Maybe it's your garden. Maybe it's a grandchild. Maybe it's a neighbor who needs your smile. Maybe it's learning something new or sharing your story. Whatever it is, let that purpose pull you forward each day. It might just be the healthiest thing you ever do. When he talked about purpose, his eyes lit up in a way that surprised me. You could tell this wasn't just medical advice. It came from somewhere deeper, from all the faces he'd seen across hospital beds, all the voices he'd heard when people thought no one was really listening. And what struck me most was how he said it wasn't the healthiest bodies that aged the best. It was the ones with a reason to get up in the morning. He told me about a woman named Teresa, 81 years old, living alone, modest home, modest life. She didn't have children or a big social circle, but every single morning, she got up early, walked outside, and watered her neighbors' flower beds, rain or shine, even when her knees ached, even when she didn't sleep well. When he asked her why she kept doing it, she said, "Because if I don't do it, nobody will, and they need those flowers." That was her reason. It wasn't grand or dramatic, but it was hers. It got her out of bed. It gave her body motion and her mind a mission. And according to the doctor, it was likely the very thing keeping her sharp, steady and upright, when others her age had long lost their footing. Purpose, movement, connection. These things work together like roots in a tree, unseen, but holding everything steady above the ground. He said it's not about chasing youth. It's about feeding the life you still have and doing it with care. Now here's another part of his warning that more people need to hear. Stop ignoring your legs. He said it flat out. When the legs go, he told me, everything goes. And he wasn't being dramatic. He meant that once your legs weaken, everything else becomes harder. Cooking, showering, getting to the bathroom safely, leaving the house. And when those things get harder, people pull back. They start doing less. They stop going out. And that's when the decline snowballs. He said most seniors think weakness starts in the heart, or maybe the brain, but it's often the legs. And the scary part? It happens slowly. One missed walk turns into a week. Then stairs become difficult. Then you start reaching for a chair to steady yourself. Before long, even standing up feels like a chore. But here's the hope. Leg strength is one of the easiest things to rebuild, no matter your age. Even in your 80s, you can regain stability and strength with just a few minutes of daily movement. He suggested starting simple. Standing up from a chair 5 times in a row, once in the morning and once in the evening. No weights, no machines. Just your body doing what it was made to do. He said the key wasn't intensity, it was consistency. Gentle movement, repeated often, brings strength back. He had so many stories, like the man in his 70s who thought he'd never walk around the block again. But after just 3 weeks of short, daily walks, even if it was just to the mailbox at first, the difference was night and day. Less pain, better balance, more energy. It wasn't a miracle. It was motion. And that leads to one of the most overlooked risks for seniors, long periods of sitting. We think of rest as recovery, and sometimes it is. But he said prolonged sitting can be dangerous. Not just for the legs, but for the heart, the lungs, and even the brain. Blood flows slower, muscles shrink, lungs take in less air, thoughts become foggier. He called it slow shrinkage, not just of the body, but of the life around it. So what's the fix? It's surprisingly small. He told every senior he met, stand up every hour, just stand, stretch, walk to the kitchen, look out the window, reset your circulation. Let your body remember that it's still alive and moving. He said it might be the simplest health advice he ever gave, and one of the most powerful. As we talked, I asked him what he wished every senior would do. One thing that could change their trajectory. He didn't hesitate. Eat for strength, not just comfort. He didn't mean going on a diet or counting calories. He meant choosing foods that fuel your muscles, bones, and brain. At that age, he said, food isn't just about taste, it's medicine. He saw too many people relying on toast, crackers, tea, and little bites here and there. He understood why. It's easier, appetites change, cooking feels like a chore. But he emphasized that a lack of protein, vitamins, and hydration can speed up aging in ways most people don't realize. He recommended simple things: eggs, beans, yogurt, a little meat or fish, nuts, leafy greens. Nothing fancy, just nourishing. He shared a story about a patient named Luis, a man who had lost interest in food altogether. He wasn't ill. He just said he wasn't hungry much. Over time, he lost muscle, became weaker, started falling, ended up in a hospital bed. And the worst part? It all could have been avoided. He was starving, the doctor said, not from poverty, but from neglect, from not knowing that what he ate determined whether he'd stand tall or sink slowly. He told me that eating isn't just about health, it's about ritual, it's about dignity. And when someone makes the effort to feed themselves well, even if it's just a simple homemade soup, they're saying, I still matter. I still deserve to be cared for. That message stuck with me, because too often we start to believe the world is done caring about us, that we've passed our prime, that we've already lived the important chapters. But this doctor, this man who had spent decades witnessing the end stages of life, said otherwise. He said, you are still writing your story, and every bite of food, every step you take, every choice to connect with someone, or sit in the sun, or stretch your arms toward the sky, it all matters, more than you know. He didn't preach from a place of fear. He shared from a place of reverence, for the aging body, for the quiet wisdom of older adults, for the chapters that still remain to be written. And his final words to me that day still echo in my heart. Tell them, he said, that it's not too late, not ever. As long as they can breathe and think and move, even a little, there's always something more to do, to love, to create, to give. So if you've been sitting too long, if your legs feel unsteady, if your meals have grown sparse, if your days feel quiet, let this be your call to rise, gently, kindly. One movement, one meal, one moment at a time. The most powerful thing about his message wasn't just the warnings. It was the quiet reassurance woven into every word that no matter your age, your body and mind still respond to care. That even if you've drifted from healthy habits or let the years slip by, there's still time to make changes that matter. And in this part of our conversation, he began sharing not just what goes wrong, but how to make it right. He leaned in a little closer when he said it. Most people don't realize how many of their problems can be softened, even reversed, with just a few simple shifts. We're not talking about surgeries or fancy treatments. We're talking about daily decisions. And that's where he began, with the promise that the habits you choose today, even the small ones, can bring back strength, clarity, and confidence you may have thought were gone for good. One of the first things he recommended was reclaiming your mornings. He said many of his senior patients started their days in a rush, or worse, in stillness. They'd roll out of bed, maybe skip breakfast, and move into the day with no momentum. That, he said, sets the wrong tone, not just physically, but mentally. He suggested something gentle but intentional. Wake up slowly, sit on the edge of your bed, wiggle your toes, stretch your arms overhead, take 3 deep breaths. These small motions, done before you even leave your bedroom, begin waking up your circulation and resetting your balance. He called it greeting the day with dignity. Then have a glass of water before anything else. Not coffee, not juice, water. Your body's been dry for hours. Hydration is the fuel your joints, muscles, and brain need to perform even the simplest tasks. Breakfast? He made it clear. Skipping it isn't harmless. It's missed opportunity. A bowl of oatmeal with nuts, a boiled egg with toast, Greek yogurt with berries. These are meals that fuel your body and stabilize your blood sugar, giving you the energy you need to move confidently and avoid those mid-morning slumps that lead to accidents or foggy thinking. And speaking of accidents, his next solution was something every senior can implement immediately: create safe walking paths in your home. He said many of the falls he saw were entirely preventable. The corner of a rug, a loose slipper, dim lighting at night, all small things, but all capable of changing your life in one painful second. He advised this: walk through your home during the daytime, pretending you're a visitor seeing it for the first time. Notice what's in your way. Is that lamp cord really necessary? Can that rug be secured or removed? Is there a place near your bed where a small light could help if you need to get up at night? And while you're at it, check your shoes. He said shoes with worn-out soles or no support are like invitations for trouble. A good pair of supportive, non-slip shoes, worn indoors and out, can prevent more injuries than any pill. Another thing he spoke about, something many of us overlook, is the power of breathing. Not just regular breathing, conscious breathing. He said many older adults breathe shallowly, using only the top of their lungs. Over time, this reduces oxygen flow, weakens posture, and even triggers anxiety. He taught his patients something simple. Once a day, sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor and take 10 deep, slow breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel your lungs expand. Let your shoulders drop. This, he said, does more than just bring in oxygen. It resets your nervous system. It calms the mind. It recenters the body. And in just a few minutes, it can reduce blood pressure, slow a racing heart, and create a sense of inner steadiness that carries through the rest of the day. But it wasn't just the body he wanted to strengthen. It was the mind and the heart too. One of the most touching things he said was this: if your spirit is empty, your health won't hold. So he encouraged his patients to do something creative every single day. It didn't matter what: draw, write, south bake, sing, mend, garden, organize, tell stories. The activity itself wasn't the point. It was about giving the mind something to build. Something that says, I still make things. I still bring something into this world. He shared the story of Arthur, a 78-year-old man who began journaling again after years of thinking his words weren't important. But something shifted. That one small act, just 10 minutes in the morning with a pen, changed his posture, his mood, even his memory. The more he wrote, the doctor said, the more he remembered. And the more he remembered, the more alive he felt. We don't often think of creativity as medicine, but he insisted it was. It nourishes the parts of us that pills cannot reach. He also talked about the emotional health of seniors and how often it's quietly ignored. He said, "I've seen more damage from loneliness than I have from smoking." That sentence stuck with me, because loneliness doesn't always look sad. It looks quiet. It looks like someone saying they're fine when they're not. It looks like a home without a ringing phone. His advice was firm but kind. Don't wait to be invited. Reach out. Pick up the phone, ask someone to lunch. Go to that community class, reconnect with an old friend. Join the local church potluck, even if you don't know anyone there. The very act of trying sends a message to your soul. You still belong somewhere. Someone still wants to hear your voice. You're not invisible. And finally, he urged regular checkups, not just when something's wrong, but as part of honoring your health. Too many people, he said, avoid appointments out of fear or fatigue. But by the time symptoms appear, problems are harder to fix. A once-a-year checkup could mean the difference between catching something early and finding it too late. And during those checkups, don't just sit quietly. Ask questions. Bring a list. Be your own advocate. Doctors may be trained professionals, but you are the expert in your own body. You know when something feels off, even if you can't explain it perfectly. He often said the best patients weren't the ones who followed orders without question. They were the ones who spoke up, who stayed curious, who treated their bodies like something precious. So here's what I want to say to you. Heart to heart, you are still in charge. Your life is still yours. Your legs, your lungs, your laugh, they're still working for you. And if you treat them with care, they will carry you into some of the best years of your life. Yes, aging comes with changes. But it also comes with wisdom, and that wisdom, applied gently and consistently, can protect you far better than any expensive treatment or miracle cure. Let's take a moment and breathe together. You've listened closely, and I want to thank you, truly, for staying with me through this message. Because what we've shared here isn't just advice from a retired doctor. It's a gentle reminder that your life still holds so much value. That your time, your body, your presence, they still matter deeply. Over these last few minutes, we've unpacked something rare. Not just facts, but truths. Truths that come from years of experience at the bedside, from holding hands in silence, from witnessing what happens when people listen to their bodies, and when they don't. You heard him speak through these words, about the dangers of ignoring the small signs, about how skipping breakfast or sitting too long can quietly steal your strength. You heard how dehydration, disconnection, and isolation weaken more than just muscles. They dim the spirit. But you also heard the hope, didn't you? That even after 70, 80, 90 years, your body and your soul can still thrive. Let's remember the key lessons he left behind, the kind of wisdom that could easily be overlooked if we're too busy or too tired or simply not paying attention. He taught us that the body always whispers before it shouts, that a little dizziness, a moment of imbalance, or a skipped meal isn't something to shrug off. These are invitations to check in, to respond with kindness, to say, "I hear you," and adjust. He showed us that weakness in the legs is often the beginning of bigger problems, but also the easiest to rebuild. That a short daily walk, or standing from a chair with intention, can bring back strength you thought you'd lost forever. He warned us of the slow danger of sitting too long, of not eating enough protein, of relying on old routines without checking in with how our bodies have changed. But more than that, he gave us the antidotes: hydration, nourishment, breath, purpose, and motion. He reminded us that aging doesn't mean shrinking away from life. It means stepping into it with more presence. That even the smallest acts, standing tall, calling a friend, journaling your thoughts, or planting a flower, can rebuild not just your health, but your joy. And perhaps most beautifully, he said that having a reason to get up each morning is as important as any prescription. That purpose, however quiet or simple, is the anchor of a healthy life. Whether it's watering your neighbor's flowers, folding laundry with care, mentoring someone younger, or sharing your story, that sense of "I still matter" is what keeps the heart beating strong. So, what does all this mean for you right now? It means that you're not helpless, you're not stuck, you haven't missed your chance. The road to strength, clarity, and fulfillment is still open, and it starts right where you are. Maybe that means beginning tomorrow a little differently, taking those few deep breaths, sitting up slowly, drinking that glass of water, giving your legs a chance to move. Maybe it means looking at your medications, reviewing your supplements with a doctor or pharmacist, and asking, "Do I still need this?" Maybe it means saying yes to a lunch invite, joining a local group, or simply calling someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Or maybe it means something even more personal, deciding today, in this very moment, to stop treating yourself like an afterthought, to remember that your health is worth the effort, that your presence in this world still makes a difference. You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to start. The doctor's message, his final warning, wasn't meant to alarm you. It was meant to awaken you, to help you remember that life doesn't just happen to you. You have a say in it, in your habits, in your mindset, in the way you treat yourself and the choices you make each day. He believed, and I believe, that seniors are some of the strongest people on earth. You've endured, you've adapted, you've given so much to others. Now it's time to give a little more to yourself. And if you're wondering, but what if it's too late for me? I want to say this clearly. It's not too late. Not if you're still breathing. Not if your heart is still beating. The spark in you is still alive. You just have to tend to it. So please, if this message touched you, if you found even one sentence that made you pause, that made you feel seen, I invite you to do 3 small things right now. First, leave a comment below and share something, a thought, a memory, a goal. You never know who might read your words and feel less alone. Second, subscribe to this channel. There's so much more I want to share with you. Not just advice, but encouragement, reminders, real stories. You deserve a space that supports your journey every step of the way. And third, share this video with someone who needs it. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a son or daughter who's been trying to understand what you're going through. Let this message ripple outward. You see, every person who watches this becomes part of something bigger. A community of people who believe that aging is not about decline, but about deepening, about knowing yourself better, about living slower, wiser, more present, and still full of purpose. So here's to you, to your resilience, to your laughter, to your story, which is still unfolding with every breath. You are not forgotten. You are not finished. You are still becoming. Thank you, truly, for sharing your time with me today, for listening, for caring about your health and your life. It means more than you know. Stay safe, stay strong, stay hopeful, and most of all, keep moving forward. Until next time, please take good care of yourself. And remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'll be right there, reading every word, because we're in this together.